Alright, yesterday's video I went over some of the core rules of DC Dual Force, talked about what you can expect from the game. So if you don't know anything about the game just yet, I highly recommend going to check out that video. But in this video, I want to talk about all of the individual cards we've seen so far for DC Dual Force. I've broken these down into factions for this particular video. For those who don't know, the game's split up into 5 factions. We have Tyranny, Anarchy, Energy, Might, and Tactics. First, we're going to go over the Tactics cards, starting with the Batman Leader. This is why I highly recommend you go watch the core video first, because there's a lot to talk about on individual cards. So Batman is a leader card. He has 17 defense, which based on what we've seen so far seems around about in the middle. The lowest health or lowest defense leader we've seen so far is 15. That's the Flash. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. So 17, it seems about in the middle, maybe a little bit above average. He has 2 abilities. One gets, Batman gets +2 attack is what this circle is, or at least damage, that type of thing. And ambush this turn. Ambush means while attacking, you deal damage first. So I assume this means if you were to destroy a target with your attack, you won't receive retaliate damage. Probably seen this type of keyword before. It's nice to see that Batman has that going for him. He also has look at the top 3 cards of your deck, draw one of them. If it's a gadget, upgrade it, and Batman gains charge. So charge is not a keyword. There's a handful of things going on here. So charge is what we're spending to use our abilities. So this yellow box here is the amount of charge the ability requires. So you spend 2 on this, and then if you draw a gadget with it, you upgrade the gadget and you get back a charge that you spent on the ability. At least that's my interpretation. I could be wrong, so bear with me on that. But I do believe that is how that works. I'm not exactly sure what the definition of a gadget is here. We haven't seen anything with gadget wording on it. I assume some actions might have keywords that establish them as gadgets. Either way, it's really hard to evaluate this ability because we don't know how many cards you actually put in your deck. If you have a 10 card deck, this ability seems really good. If you have a 50 card deck, this ability seems a lot worse. Either way, I think Batman seems pretty okay, especially with the ambush keyword on a leader. That seems really good. But again, we know so little about this game, it's hard to say what's good and what's not, but I'd say Batman's off to a good start, especially when we look at the next Tactics card here, which is To the Batcave. Your leaders heal 3 damage, so there's a total of 6 healing because you have 2 leaders in this game. For the rest of the game, draw an additional card each turn. Again, this kind of comes down to deck size. Obviously, this effect is really, really strong, and it also depends on the number of turns we're going to have each game. If we play this on turn 7, how many turns do we have left in the game? It obviously very much depends on the context of the game. If this card's only drawing 1 card, then it's not the best. Though, draw 1, heal 6 in total doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. Yeah, pretty high on this card, actually. I think we can build around this card pretty consistently, so I'll keep my eye out. Every time I open up a pack, I'll be waiting for To the Batcave. This card seems pretty good. Definitely a fun build around for sure. All right, we can move on to the Might category. This is the first category we're going to go over that actually has 2 heroes or 2 leaders that we can talk about. In this case, it's going to be Superman and Wonder Woman. Let's focus on Superman first. Superman is a leader with 19 health. That is the highest amount of health we've seen, or defense, sorry. I got to get used to saying defense because it is a defense stat in this game. 19 defense is plenty. His 2 abilities are +3 attack and Hunter this turn. So Hunter ignores protections. So protections are things like guard or hidden. So I assume guard is like taunt in Hearthstone and hidden is like stealth. I'm going to compare everything to Hearthstone because most people are familiar with Hearthstone. It's actually been a long time since I've played Hearthstone, but I know a lot of people are very familiar with that system. So if I refer to a keyword and then compare it to another one, you'll remember more easily if I refer to it as the Hearthstone terminology. So Hunter pretty much just ignores all of the things that protects other cards. I'm not sure how valuable of an effect that is. Obviously, it really much depends on how many cards have hidden, how many cards have guard. Yeah, it's going to be very contextual to determine how good this effect is. I will mention though, most of the leader abilities that we've seen so far that give any amount of attack seem to give 2, where Superman gives 3. He's a little bit stronger than the others, so that's something to keep in mind. Here's a fun one. His second ability is a friendly character gets invincible until the start of your next turn. That is crazy. So just so you know, the invincible keyword does mean that the person doesn't take damage as well as not being able to be KO'd. We'll go over the second Might leader. This is going to be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's first ability is +2 strength or +2 attack, whatever we end up calling this, and gain shield. Shield is similar to barrier, I think it's called in in Hearthstone. No, it's called Divine Shield in Hearthstone. The next piece of damage that the person receives is reduced to 0. But really, more exciting than that is Wonder Woman's next ability, which seems really strong. Double the attack of each of your minions. So each of your minions get double attack values. That makes Wonder Woman incredibly exciting. She is 17 defense, so a little bit weaker than Superman, so you are giving up a little bit by taking Wonder Woman over Superman, but you're getting this very powerful effect, which I'm sure will be fun to use. The only might card that we've seen so far is Super Strength, which is give a friendly minion +3/+3. No other might cards have been shown so far, but based on what we've seen here, just on these 3 cards here, we can assume that the might faction is going to be very buff oriented. Expect to see some more big buff cards coming out of the might faction. We can move on to the energy faction now, where we're going to talk about the Flash, which is the only energy based leader we've seen so far. So the Flash has 15 defense, the lowest of any leader we're going to go over in this video. He has 2 abilities. One is +2 attack this turn, ready the Flash after his next attack this turn. So now honestly, using this effect can be a little bit scary because obviously you're going to receive retaliate damage when you attack with the Flash, but something that's important to keep in mind is that all of the leader cards have their attack bound to an ability that ends at the end of that turn. So if I have a good understanding of the game, my assumption is that you can just continue to use that effect as the Flash and just throw that 2 damage onto enemy leaders, effectively ramping up quite a bit of the damage you can deal. Now, you are going to run into problems as the opponent continues to put minions up in front of themselves, which is going to protect them from the Flash, but assuming you have an open path towards the enemy leader, you can deal 4 damage a turn without playing any cards against enemy leaders, and that's pretty crazy. You also see the most expensive ability we've ever seen on a card, and that's take an additional turn after this one. It costs 4 charge, but that's an incredibly exciting effect, and for that reason, I think Flash is my most desired leader right now. As soon as I get my hands on the game, I think I want the Flash because that ability sounds crazy. Anything that reads take an additional turn on it, I'm all here for. Moving on to our only energy minion that we have, and that's Dr. Fate, Mr. Kent Nelson, who is a 7/10. Good stats with Start. I assume Start is more or less like on reveal or battle cry. So when this creature comes into play, I believe, create 2 random spells in your hand. So interesting to note that this doesn't say 2 random actions. We've gone over action cards in this video, but Dr. Fate is not adding actions to your hand. He's adding spells to your hand. So unless this is just a wording error, Dr. Fate is adding unique cards to your hand. I could be wrong about that. There might be some other type of card in the game that is defined as spells instead of actions, but my current assumption is that spells is a unique thing to Dr. Fate. So I'm really excited to see what those spells are. That's all we have for the energy faction, but so far it looks like the energy faction's very combo oriented, so the energy faction is going to be up my alley, I think. Moving on to Anarchy. First, we'll talk about Harley Quinn, who has a very fun effect. She's got 16 defense, so a little on the lower end, pretty close to Flash. Her first ability is +2 to 6 power, and Harley Quinn immediately attacks at random. So the downside of getting that much attack is that she's going to be hitting a random target. And then her second ability is +3 attack, and Harley Quinn immediately attacks each available enemy in a random order. Jeez, Harley Quinn is out here just hitting people. That's an exciting effect for sure. Moving on to the only Anarchy minion we have, and that's Punchline. Punchline is a 3/3, so pretty low stats, at least compared to what we've seen elsewhere, but she has Frenzy. Punchline has Lethal if you control Joker. So there's a lot to catch up here if you haven't watched the core rules video, but this game is played on a 3x2 grid, and Punchline, when she destroys or when she KOs a defender in the front row, she'll immediately attack the space behind it. So she might attack twice if she KOs something. But here's the exciting part. Punchline gains Lethal if you control Joker, and what Lethal is, it's kind of like poisonous. Cards with Lethal KO any minions that they attack. Oh, sorry, not that they attack, that they damage. So there's an important distinction there. Honestly, so far my interpretation of Punchline is that she's fairly weak. 3 defense is really low from what we've seen so far. Plus, her lethal condition requires that Joker be in play. So I'm not expecting big things from Punchline, but I hope to be surprised because that kind of loop of Frenzy plus Lethal sounds really fun to use. I hope to be wrong about Punchline, but so far I'm not impressed. Moving on to the Tyranny faction. This is our last faction we're going to go over here. We don't have a leader for Tyranny yet, so we're not really going to be able to contextualize either of these 2 cards, but we're going to do our best. First, we'll focus on the action that we have, and that's Thin the Herd. KO half of your opponent's minions, rounded down. Yo, that's That's wild. It doesn't say random on this card, so I wonder if you can select the minions. And if so, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, obviously without the context of the rest of the game, an effect like this can seem really crazy. My assumption is that Tyranny is going to be very control focused, so they're probably going to have a lot of cards that are annoying to deal with. All right, Gorilla Grodd is our final card that we're going to talk about today. It's the last minion, the last card, the last everything. Gorilla Grodd is a 7/6, which seems like okay stats, maybe a little low on the defensive side. When an enemy blocking Gorilla Grodd is KO'd, draw a card. Now, we don't know for sure what blocking means, but let me break it down. So let's say this is our board setup. We've got Gorilla Grodd in front of our first leader, but our opponent has another minion in front of their first leader. I don't target their leader or this minion. I target the first lane. And when I target that lane and I destroy this front unit, I'm destroying an enemy that is blocking. And if that's the case, Gorilla Grodd would draw a card. Now, obviously, we don't know for sure that that's how the mechanic works. That seems consistent with everything we know so far about the game, so I'm going to go with that being the case. And if that is the case, on one hand, that's a good effect for Gorilla Grodd to have. On the other hand, his defensive stats pretty low, at least for a big 7 power card. I don't know, it's really hard to contextualize this stuff without knowing what characters and units and minions damage thresholds are going to be, but I'm not confident in Gorilla Grodd just yet. But anything that reads draw a card on it has the potential to be really good. So that's it. We went over all of the different factions. Which of the factions are you most excited to play? I'd say for me, it's going to be Energy. Definitely Energy. I'm also really excited to play with Harley Quinn, man. Harley Quinn's hero card seems really fun, or leader card seems really fun. Oh, then again, there's that Wonder Woman that just doubles the attack of all your creatures. Overall, really fun card designs. I'm really looking forward to the future of this game. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Keep being awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.